go. Check this out. BCM right here, bringing you another Commander deck tech. Today we're looking at Grimgrin Corpseborn. This is a Domir colored zombie tribal deck, but we're kind of doing a more aristocrat style. So we're going to be generating a lot of zombie tokens that we're going to use in various different ways besides just attacking our opponents. So let's get right into it. First up is all the zombies. So we have Gravecrawler. Gravecrawler we're going to use in many different ways. He's going to be our main sacrifice guy that we're going to use. Now we have Crypt Breaker. I love Crypt Breaker. His activated ability, we're going to put stuff in our graveyard, generate zombie tokens, and if we tap 3 untapped zombies, we get to draw a card and we lose a life. Now we have Carrion Feeder. Carrion Feeder is going to be our main sacrifice outlet. Every single creature that we sacrifice to this Carrion Feeder is going to get very large. Now we have Relentless Dead. This one is very good. Whenever Relentless Dead goes to the graveyard, we can pay 1 black. If we do, we can return it back to our hand. But also, when Relentless Dead goes to the graveyard, we can pay X and return any zombie card back to the battlefield. Now we have Diregraph Captain. This is a Lord effect, and whenever another zombie goes to the graveyard, target opponent is going to lose 1 life. So we have Lord of the Undead. Apart from making our zombies bigger, we can pay 2 and return any zombie back to our hand. Now we have Lord of the Accursed. It's going to give all our zombies menace. It's going to be very difficult for our opponents to block. Now we have Undead War Chief. This is going to reduce the cost of all our zombie spells and make them very large. Now we have Fleshbag Marauder. This is going to deal with our opponent's creatures. If we keep returning Fleshbag Marauder back to the battlefield, our opponents aren't going to have any creatures to block with. Now we have Diregraph Colossus. This one is very powerful. Diregraph Colossus is going to enter the battlefield with a +1 counter for each zombie in our graveyard. Then whenever we cast a zombie spell, it's going to create a 2/2 zombie token. Now we have Plague Belcher. This is going to synergize whenever the zombies go to the graveyard by having each opponent lose 1 life. Similar to that, we have Vengeful Dead. Now we have Grim Servant. This is kind of like a Grim Tutor on a 3/2 menace zombie. This is going to be equal to our Devotion to Black. We're kind of like a zombie tribal deck, but we're also a devotion deck as well. So to follow up with that, we have good old Gary, or Grey Merchant of Asphodel. Now we have Cleaver Scob. This is going to be another sacrifice outlet, but Cleaver Scob is going to make 2 token copies of the sacrifice creature. Now we have Noxious Ghoul. This is going to deal with our opponent's creatures by giving them -1/-1 every single time another zombie enters the battlefield. Okay, now we have Havenghoul Lich. This is going to be really beneficial for us because if we have a very powerful zombie card in our graveyard, we can pay 1. We can cast that zombie creature card from our graveyard, and then Havenghoul Lich is going to have all activated abilities of that card until the end of turn. Okay, now we have a personal favorite of mine with Sidisi Undead Vizier. This card is very powerful. When Sidisi enters the battlefield, we can exploit or sacrifice either Sidisi or another creature. When we do, we get to Demonic Tutor. Now we have the iconic Grave Titan. A zombie deck would not be complete without Grave Titan. Just when Grave Titan enters the battlefield or attacks, we're going to get 2/2 zombies. Okay, Let's get into the non-zombie creatures that are going to help us out. So we have Dust Mantle Guild Mage. This guy is going to help us by putting cards into our graveyard, but also he's part of a infinite combo, which I'll get to in just a moment. Because we have many things going to the graveyard. We have Blood Artist and Zulaport Cutthroat. That way we can force our opponents to lose life and we're going to gain life. Now we have Jadar, Ghoul Caller of Nephalia. He's going to be responsible for giving us sacrifice fodder every single turn. Now we have Zombie Master. This is going to give all our zombies a very helpful ability by either regenerating it or having Swamp Walk. Now we have Giza and Geralf. When Giza and Geralf enters the battlefield, we're going to mill 4 cards, and every single turn, we can cast the zombie from our graveyard. Now we have Ghoul Caller Giza. This is another helpful sacrifice outlet, and when we do, we're going to generate that many 2/2 black zombie tokens, where X is the sacrifice creature's power. Now we have Giza the Hellraiser. This one is very powerful. Apart from being a zombie lord, by giving it +1/+1 and menace, Giza herself has ward, so our opponents are going to have a tough time dealing with this card. Whenever we commit a crime, we're going to create more sacrifice fodder with these black and blue zombie rogue tokens. Unfortunately, this only triggers once per turn. Now we have Pitiless Plunderer. We're going to generate treasure tokens whenever any creature goes to our graveyard. Now we have Profaner of the Dead. This one just sounds really cool. It does have exploit as well. He's primarily here to deal with all of our opponent's creatures. Okay, now we have the Scarab God. This is a very powerful card. Every single upkeep, each opponent is going to lose life. We're going to have a lot of zombies. We're going to scry a lot of cards, and our opponents are going to lose a lot of life. The Scarab God is going to deal with all the creatures in our opponent's graveyard just by exiling them, and we're going to make a token copy of that creature, and it's a 4/4 zombie. Okay, now we have Drivnod, Carnage Dominus. This is going to be solely responsible for making all of our die triggers even better, because they're going to trigger a additional time. And we can protect Drivnod by exiling 3 creature cards from our graveyard. Okay, now we have 2 very powerful planeswalkers we're doing. So we have Liliana Death's Majesty. She's going to generate zombie tokens for us and put cards in our graveyard that we can cast. But also, if we -3 her, we're going to return any creature from our graveyard back to the battlefield, and it's going to be a zombie no matter what. And if we need to destroy all the creatures, we're going to destroy all non-zombie creatures. Now we have Liliana Dreadhorde General. This is going to be very beneficial for us. This card is very powerful. It's going to synergize so well with what we're doing, being a aristocrat style, because whenever any creature we control goes to the graveyard, we get to draw a card. When we +1 Liliana, we get another zombie, and if we -4, each player is going to sacrifice 2 creatures, so that's 2 more cards we get to draw. If we get to ultimate her, each opponent chooses a permanent type, and they sacrifice the rest. Okay, let's get into the enchantments. Of course, we're playing Phyrexian Arena. Now we have Dreadhorde Invasion. We're going to get a zombie token every single turn. Now we have Endless Ranks of the Dead. We're just going to keep generating a lot of zombies every single turn. Now we have Rooftop Storm, because we don't like to pay for our zombie cards. Now we have Open the Graves. Whenever a non-token creature we control goes to the graveyard, we're going to get a zombie token. Now we have Dictate of Erebos and Grave Pact. This is going to synergize with all of our creatures going to the graveyard by forcing our opponents to sacrifice their creatures. Now we have Bastion of Remembrance. That way we can continually drain our opponents every single time any creature we control goes to the graveyard. Similar to that, we have Meat Hook Massacre. And for even more value, we have Black Market. This is going to generate a lot of black mana that we can keep doing silly things. Okay, let's get into the artifacts. Of course, we have Soul Ring. We have Arcane Signet. Domir Signet. Talisman of Dominance. Sapphire Medallion as a cost reduction. Jet Medallion as another cost reduction. We got the booties. This is going to protect Grimgrin. Now we have Bantu's Monument. This is another cost reduction, but more importantly, whenever we cast any creature spell, each opponent is going to lose 1 life, and we're going to gain 1 life. Now we have Nim Death Mantle. This is a very on-theme artifact, but because we are running Phyrexian Altar and Ashnod's Altar as a sacrifice outlet as well. This is an infinite combo with Grave Titan. If we have Ashnod's Altar and Nim Death Mantle, we're going to produce infinite colorless mana. Now we have Mind Crank. Because we have many effects of forcing our opponents to lose life, they're going to mill that many cards. But this is the infinite combo with Duskmantle Guildmage. All we have to do is have both these cards out on the battlefield, and we're going to activate Duskmantle Guildmage's first ability, force our opponent to lose 1 life, and they're going to mill their entire deck. And that sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, let's get into the instants. Because we're in black, we are playing Dark Ritual. That way we can play something very quickly. Now we have Withering Torment. This is primarily here just to deal with a very troublesome enchantment called Rest in Peace. Because Rest in Peace is the only enchantment we're kind of really afraid of, because we need everything to go to the graveyard. That way we get those triggers. Now we have Counterspell, Arcane Denial, and to give us a little protection, we have Lazatop Plating. This is going to be very, very powerful for us, and we get a zombie army out of it. And of course, we have Cyclonic Rift. Really don't need to explain too much more about Cyclonic Rift. Okay, let's get into the sorceries. We're in black, so naturally we're playing Demonic Tutor. Toxic Deluge. Now we have Zombie Apocalypse. We're going to bring back every single zombie from our graveyard back to the battlefield and then destroy all humans. Okay, now we have Empty the Laboratory. This is going to be a very powerful spell, because if we generated a lot of zombie tokens, we're going to sacrifice X zombies and then reveal cards from the top of our library until we reveal that number of zombie cards and put them onto the battlefield. Okay, let's get into the land base. Of course, we have Polluted Delta. So we have Watery Grave, Undercity Sewers, and we have Sunken Hollow. Now we have our check land with Drowned Catacomb. We have a newer one with Gloom Lake Verge. Now we have our filter land with Sunken Ruins. Our speed land with Dark Slick Shores. Now we have a man land with Restless Reef. This has a activated ability where Restless Reef is going to become a 4/4 blue and black shark with Death Touch. And whenever Restless Reef attacks, target player is going to mill 4 cards. So we could either target our opponent, or we can target ourselves to put more stuff in our graveyard. Now we have Takanuma, Abandoned Mire. This is going to be very beneficial for us because not only will it put cards in our graveyard, but also we can return a very certain creature if we need it right then and there. Now we have Castle Lochthwain. That way we can draw cards. Now we have Baradur. This is just going to create another sacrifice token. Now we have the Black Gate. This is going to be kind of fun because we can choose a player with the most life or tied for the most life, and target creature can't be blocked by creatures that player controls. Now we have Spymaster's Vault. This is going to be very beneficial for us. It's going to target a creature and we're going to connive X. So we're going to draw X cards and then discard X cards. And then we're going to put a +1 counter on that creature for each non-land card discarded this way. Now we have Crypt of Agadim. This is going to generate a lot of black mana for us because we're going to have a lot of creatures in our graveyard. Now we have the iconic Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth. This is going to ensure every single land we control is a swamp. Now we have Manamo, School at Water's Edge. Because Grimgrin enters tapped and has a kind of a tap ability, we're going to use Manamo to untap Grimgrin or any other tap creature. That's legendary. Now we have Otawara, Sorin City. We're going to use this to deal with our opponent's permanents, but also we can use Otawara to protect some of our permanents as well. And because we're kind of a tribal deck, we have 3 Tree City. This is going to generate a lot of mana for us. And just like that, we have Cabal Coffers. Because we have Urborg, this is going to generate a lot of black mana for us. Now we have Phyrexian Tower. That way we can use this as a sacrifice outlet to generate more mana. Now we have Unholy Grotto. This is going to be very fun because we can continually put a zombie back on top of our library. Now we have Field of the Dead. Because a lot of our lands are going to have different names, we're going to keep generating 2/2 black zombie creatures. And we have Rogue's Passage. If we've created a very large zombie creature, we're just going to get that damage through. We are running 5 islands and 5 swamps. And that was the Commander deck tech for Grimgrin Corpseborn. I really hope you guys enjoyed this Tribal Aristocrats zombie build. I would love to hear all your suggestions. So I'll leave the Moxfield deck list link in the comments below. So be sure to like, comment, subscribe, follow me on TikTok, share these videos, and I'll see you in the next one.